Welcome back again to the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition, Bucket Edition. We found the bucket, saw one ending. Oh. What? And we're gonna do all the other ending, but now we're at please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Okay. They never asked this before. They talked about slider. They talked about the hour to put our favorite hour. This is some weird. Okay, shenanigans. Let's see. Oh yeah, the game told me it was gonna give me a lot of slider. Please adjust the slider until the dog and the cats are friend. Oh, hell yeah. Please adjust the slider until the number 5 becomes the number 9. Okay, this might be it, or this. Am I doing good? Please adjust the slider until you stop adjusting the slider. I'm good with this. Which of the two made-up words below is most appealing to you? Akun call or Scrumtosh? Definitely Scrumtosh. Please don't adjust the slider. Okay. Do you know what time it is right now? No. Is the time that it is right now the correct time? Yes. What is time anyway? Yeah. What the hell? It's not stopping. There's no hand to this. Okay. Well, this is what it is to be on the Silver Lab. We play stupid shit like this. Is there anything about yourself that you haven't told me? Yes. I'm gonna help, okay? Will you come back to visit me? Yes, I will. Oh wow. The Stanley Parable 2. What's insane is I want to start the game again just to see what else happened. So at the end of the bucket run, I like the change of song too. What the hell? I would start the game again just to see and see how long it goes. Okay, let's begin the game again. So now we have the bucket. I hope so.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427.
For the rest. Let's skip it. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
And it's changing.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Indeed. This is the only reason I'm playing this.
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek.
For real?
Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Okay, so my goal is to test this ending, but with a bucket.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it.
Oh
We've
my God.
escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed. desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps, if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said
It's
the bucket.
bro.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like...
Oh no.
My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
Ah! What the Oh my God. Okay,
All of
that
his
was...
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Oh, so I can't use a bucket here and get descending. Okay, this is good to know. This is sad though. Okay. So we're gonna do the true ending now. Gonna do as usual and go to the left.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Yeah. Okay. Let's speed run this. You already know everything here. Oh. Oh, what the hell? Produce one plank to allow case of access past fence. Construct bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve Chris's remain from the warehouse floor. Construct new structurally sound bridge. Trust the completionist instinct. Weird spinning figurine. What the hell? Thank you, good luck. Maybe we are the collectible. What? How can we find them? Bottom text. Okay, maybe I can. What else? Small floating object have appeared across the office. We have to synergize our resource sensor. There are many questions. There was no memo from management. Okay. There will be a reward for finding them all. I can tell you've spotted one. What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures of them? Follow clues provided by employee 416. We can do it, Red Room. Okay. Okay, thank you, good luck. It's over. Missing statue. Inside of a sequel exhibit. Stairs, something to do with stairs. A large room, lot of boxes. Somewhere both red and blue. Nearby a fireplace, a private but smelly place for an important person. Okay, so one is maybe yeah, the boss office, the red and blue door, this is easy. A large room, lot of box. So this is when you go to the right and you follow the proper ending to that side. That was below the stair. Sequel exhibit, this is the first one we found. And a private but smelly place, I have a doubt, but we'll see, we're not far from it. The broom closet.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Let's stay here and see what happens. But it's not the smelly place, sadly. So, nothing. If he talks again, I'm gonna stay. Did I already do it? Maybe. Property of Stanley. Yeah, I already did that part. Okay.
Coming to a staircase,
So I did the
Stanley
ending.
and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
So let's go up. Okay. So let's go see here. Smelly place, it's a bathroom? Yeah.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes,
I
think
like
that.
Stanlerines.
Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Hell yeah. Okay. Good. So, well, this is the smelly place. This is working. So, near a fireplace. So, there might be one here. But let's take a look here. Because maybe there's one in the elevator. Okay, none. This is an insane picture. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Okay. And nothing else is told. Let's put a wrong number.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Okay. Let's be wrong. Always.
2845.
Okay, let's troll. 2, 5, 8, 4.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Oh. Oh, I love it. We're too stupid. He still goes with it. Okay, so this is not the... oh, this is the fireplace one.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley?
Standarines.
What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Stanley, I told you already. Let's go. Oh, with the bucket. I can do the ending that I come back up, down,
The
back.
elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Okay, let's do the proper ending.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Oh my god. So many things to check and see.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
I'm telling you, this bucket is alive. We have proof. Be careful around it.
The monitors jumped
He's
to
gonna
life,
be the
and
death of
Stanley
us.
nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Oh my god.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions
dare they
raised
do this to the
furiously in
bucket?
Stanley's feeble mind.
Can't accept it.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
I love it. The epicness. Okay, let's turn it up.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty.
Oh no.
Until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Wow. This is not an happy ending. Or it is. Okay. What the hell again?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply...
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Okay,
Stanley
let's go to
clutched
the
the
left.
bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
We will go up, and we're gonna mess up with the elevator now.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Oh, I love this so much. Okay. You really even adapted this dialogue when you use the code directly. Man, they went all the way with this. I'm glad I have this game. They deserve the praise. The best walking simulator
Wait,
that ever
Stanley
existed.
said to the bucket. Can we
Best
go back
narrator.
up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again.
Oh my
Bucket
god.
said nothing.
What? This is different already. Okay. So. I want to press the number 3.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Okay, let's do this a little bit longer. Just to see if he talks again. And one last time after. Okay, nothing else. Well, I guess. We go back down. And go back up.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
It's the bucket's fault. He can't understand true happiness.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. Wow.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely
Number 3
nothing
is
at all.
everything.
Only silence.
Oh, no.
Crushed by
Bucket!
a wave of dejection,
No!
Stanley returned to the elevator.
I don't accept this. I don't accept
Stanley and the
this.
bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a
And
way to
loading.
get through
No?
to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
And loading. Okay. This is a good screenshot to take. Okay. Let's go back. Nothing was happening. No talking.
Ah, said Stanley. I know what to do.
Oh my God.
I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work.
Oh my
For
God, they're
months, he
bringing us
advertised
back
and
here.
marketed his press conference, building excitement
For
around
months.
it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as
Son.
prepared as he'd ever
Oh my
been
God.
for anything in his life.
Okay, so
This was
nothing
it.
changed here. Oh,
One last
that's number
chance
3
to win the
everywhere.
bucket over.
Oh my God.
One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Wow. Okay, let's go.
There
I'm
was no
ready.
one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk
No.
about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There
Throw
would
him
be
out.
no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
No. Bye, Bucket. It was a sad one. It's very weird. But I love it. Okay, oh, there was a text I did not see.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
We're going to the escape room.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I like that you keep hearing the bucket while walking. I'm taking some screenshot just to have memory of these beautiful moments.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Okay, will it narrate again?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Indeed. And we're going down. And we're gonna go left. Oh, I forgot. Okay, let's do this. And there's another one to do. Is trying to take control of the mind control facility.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
But I'm more interested in this one, so...
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
A violent death?
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I won't.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Strap. I'm ready. I got the bucket. I can fight everything.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Maybe we'll just die. No, okay, it's stopped again.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
Ooh.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are
Indeed.
radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
I love this. This is gonna be a museum about the bucket. Is this it? Is this what it will be? Why don't I have the bucket in my hand? Oh my god. Welcome you. The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge, much like a bucket itself. The human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind, what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness? Wow. Greatest message. Thank you, Bucket.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
25 buckets. A photograph of 25 buckets. The greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. There's more than 25, that's crazy. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. Okay. A bucket with two handles. This bucket is depicted as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Wow. This is serious stuff. Inferno Bucket. A replica of the Inferno Bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerful alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains. No one can control a bucket. So it explains a lot about the endings. What? Cave drawing. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasure. Okay, let's go see the other side then. The stress bucket, an analogy. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance, vulnerability, size and strength of the bucket, coping strategy, holes, rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy, rest and relaxation. Stress, this level of water in the bucket. Presented without commentary. Okay. Glad I came back because there was no way for that part.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man
there's a
who
sticker
should
on
kneel
it.
before the bucket.
But there's a sticker. Propriety of Stanley. The narrator gave it to me. The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However, clearer grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance, inevitably, is for our own good. Can I? I want it back. Give it back.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
Tell
Let
me.
Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
I did what I had to do. It was for the bucket. Are we a bucket now? Oh my god.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket, off on another thrilling adventure together.
And everything changed.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Ah, what do I do? Okay. Will it bring me to the same place? Okay,
Coming to a
so I
staircase,
guess
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
we're gonna try to take control of the facility now.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Okay. Let's go, speedrun.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Okay, so we have to go through this again.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
We've gone through so much, bucket. So much.
The monitors jumped to
We're gonna
life,
get
and
revenge.
Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket
Can we
had
find
never
ourselves?
seen anything like this,
4,
and it
2,
very nearly burst into tears as Stanley
7?
cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Okay, we're right here. So this is where I don't see properly. Someone might have done a video on this though.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No!
It has to.
He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived, but at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Okay, go for this one.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And
What the hell?
Stanley was happy.
Is this it?
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
This is so funny. There's nothing
Stanley
left there.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Okay. Let's see.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Let's stay here and see what happens. Okay. You see, it's the waiting time.
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired. Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly at home, here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
Yeah, anything next?
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
Okay, is there anything else? Okay, I think it's over.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
Oh hell no. So this is the bathroom. I have
said
to
the bucket.
check.
Don't go to
for
the
a
meeting room.
tellering.
Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
It doesn't seem to have any. But it might. On the other side then. And we
Good,
won't drop.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of
hell?
course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In
Okay.
here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
So this is my new narrator. Is this a phone again?
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Okay.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Oh my god. Oh, this is a nice place. Oh, the bucket.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
No, it's my love. Don't listen to the loud man.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
The bucket keeps moving. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Press Y to relive the same day with me over and over. Oh my god.
Oh my god, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
He's jealous of the bucket. Go home, to work, to home, to work, to home, to work, to home.
I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
What the... This is genius. Go back to work, Stanley. Okay, this was a good one. Really good. Not just funny, but really insane.
Stanley had never seen the
Lovely.
office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was.
Oh,
He
it
hoped
came
very
back
much
to
that it
what
was.
it was usually.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
A bucket of culture and distinction.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No,
Okay.
never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley
And
took
now
the
we
door on his
unplug the
left
phone.
to go back to the meeting room.
Let's see what's
No,
gonna happen.
said the
bucket is
bucket.
gonna go
Don't
crazy.
go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here,
Said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Let's go.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket. Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really
If you
bungled
know
up
the
the
other end,
delivery if you
he
actually
was
took
talking
me
to me.
seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right
no.
here. Let's take a look.
No. It's brainwash.
What is
Stop it.
comedic timing? What is
Oh, no.
comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny. I'm Dunny with the funny. I did it. I'm awesome.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence,
It's not
and to very
stopping.
likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble
There's
cause,
a mandible
just as
with
our
a
children
human
must
feet,
do
by the way.
after us, and their
Oh,
children
no,
after
what?
them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
The hell? Did it end?
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Oh my god.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley. The bucket spoke? The bucket spoke? Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
I have to go back all the way just for him to redo the joke. Oh my god.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will
Still
never
unplugged,
land.
by the way.
Not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again.
No,
Surely
don't do
that
this.
will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Okay, he didn't do it. Oh my god.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Should I go on the left? I don't want to. Not for now, until I see what happens to this side.
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Okay, we have to change door. Okay, I get
Here
it,
we
game.
go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket
always
came
ready.
to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now.
Oh,
It's
it's
done.
the
The joke
old
is completely
room now.
done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be
not my
ridiculed in the
fault.
community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
What the hell?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the
my
whole point
God.
of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional
They went all out
videos.
on the stupidity.
Let's see.
It's not stopping. I think this is the last. Yeah, okay, it's over for this part. Okay. Wow. No time to waste.
All of his co-workers
Let's
were...
go.
Wait, no.
This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Whoa, 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 what? This is the right office? Okay, I'm taking the bucket.
Ah, the embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Okay.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Will do.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
No,
And here
I'm
it
the
was.
one in
Had
control.
the bucket turned out to be correct? Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Let's go.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley
God,
did not
there's a way to
question
drop
why or
there.
how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose
God.
not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Okay. You didn't fail. Cut. Okay. Well, well. There's two endings here. Normally.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here?
Oh no.
What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Okay. But I want the door.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin.
So every bucket is
Item
not a
1.
bucket.
Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an
What?
actual bucket.
What?
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
The only real bucket is in my hand. It has my sticker. My property.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
No.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Oh no. No, I'm sorry, bucket.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yeah.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Okay, let's be right now.
Is this a bucket?
I have to know what happens.
Correct. This is a bucket.
What? What?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Trick question.
both. Gotcha.
What?
Item...
It's
Wait,
not
hold on. I
stopping.
can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Okay. Let's see. Yes, this is.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence, and yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Yes, you are.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No.
Okay, here we go.
Don't do this.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait,
Because
was
everything
everything
is a bucket.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket. My
Indeed.
God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to
nothing
get some
left.
clarity on that issue. But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
My
Stanley decided
God.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, I'm
The
gonna
bucket
continue
made
with the
Stanley
bucket.
want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
But I also want to go through to the red and blue door.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee
I
lounge
forgot one.
was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left
Gonna
to
do
go
a quick
back
one.
to the meeting room,
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Can I get there? Oh! I freaking can!
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And then the
Stanley.
first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
This is insane that I found this. But is this a real ending that I never knew? Whoa, I have to do it without bucket then. Oh my god, I've never seen this.
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number... don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore.
Narrator
The
sound
longer
system.
I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down, it doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me. What's that? Who's there?
Oh my god. What the f... Is this over? Is this only accessible with the bucket?
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Okay, I have to check. What happens if I don't have the bucket at this place? I'll just restart if needed.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
Did
just
they
to
add the
admire
little
it.
plank so that I could...
Stanley felt lightheaded,
Get up.
butterflies in his stomach. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I can still go back without the bucket. Okay, what is this gonna be this time? Will it be the same?
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the
Wow,
office had begun
this is
from
really a
so
new
far off
one.
the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun from so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
And it ends? Okay,
I can't wait to tell this
damn.
story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing?
Okay. Let's take the bucket again. No, let's go see what happens when you get the last collectible. I'll finish with the bucket after.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Nice print.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
I really
just to
can't.
admire
Okay.
it.
No problem.
The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Okay. So we
Stanley
need
was
to
so
drop.
bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I'll need to jump from here with the bucket to see what happens.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on
And
the wrong
I have to
foot
use the
here.
door to the left.
I'm not your enemy,
and the elevator
really,
down.
I'm not.
This
I
is
realize
what's
that
left,
investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's
Because
someone
right
you've
here
been
they didn't
neglecting,
make 2
Stanley.
ending.
Someone you've
bucket.
forgotten about.
Just 1.
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me
Here
a chance.
you
And there
go.
it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment,
Stiggly
Stanley.
Wiggly?
This is a
No,
real
it's a
accomplishment.
Stanley
This is
Rig-
doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Can I just go back? No, I can't. Okay. I can't begin the game again, though. I don't have to do these again. Maybe something weird is gonna happen with the figurine. And maybe most people will not finish this part of the game and they know it.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's
I
those
knew it.
figurines. Those figlers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
This game is the best purchase I've ever done. Imagine if they really do a second game, a real second game. It's already a masterpiece. I'm gonna remember this for life. Wow. Just wow. Yeah, now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. So I got a reward, even though you didn't want to give it to me. Anything worth seeing? No? Okay. Okay. The memory zone. Okay. Zone, sweet zone. Oh, okay. Why is this one empty? Anything? No, okay. Enough messing around, let's go.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Okay. So it's gonna be a 7th one? And everything's gonna go wrong? Oh no!
And here was a second Stanley. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Stanley's back. Okay, I have to continue here. So this
Okay,
is the one
let's
that was
do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
That was in the bus bedroom.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
What? Okay.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
No, it did not. But okay.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Wow. Oh no, is this copyrighted? It's Mini Stan 5! Yeah, I like how they use all these old setup. The narrator. Ooh, Stanley was there.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Okay. That's worth it. Oh my god, they make me go there. And the last one.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final
It's funny.
figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the
really-
most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Oh, that's insane because they really followed up the order that I found them. That's what I'm realizing. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, let's get it then. Yeah, okay. Oh no, you are in the present.
And then there was no more. because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
By the way, doing this with the TV is pretty easy in Unity. It's just
no,
camera
no,
and
no,
keep
I'm
camera.
not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the
Did you
loading
stop-
screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
What? Okay, I was not ready for this. Okay.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep
Because
going.
it's
I
the
want
last
more.
one, both time. Oh my god, I'm at 13. Okay. What's gonna happen next? He's really making us go through this all again.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
He's gonna show it again. Oh, faster!
Yes, I love that video.
Oh my god. Okay, I have to calm down a little. Okay. Yeah,
Still don't
right
remember the
here
pink
is
room,
when
Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
I don't get it, this one. Where was it? Let's think back again. The first one was when we went into the Ultra Deluxe content. We found Warren below the stairs, the bathroom, up on the box places, the red and blue door. I don't remember this one. Why can't I remember this one? There's something about this.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Okay. Can I go there? Okay, so that would have been nothing. And below the stairs.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
The pink one, wasn't it the museum? No, where was it?
This is it, the very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Yeah, there was a museum here. So this is where I found the second one, by the way. Okay, so this is the pink room. Okay. It's coming back.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more memories.
What should I do then? Just continue. He really wants to see everything. But yeah, that was in the museum. There was a collectible there. Or
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Jesus, it's not stopping. And my room.
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much.
It can't end. Okay. I'm not finished.
Here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Oh my God.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
Yeah?
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
No way.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
And this is it for this one. Yeah, okay. So we saw what happens with this one. Oh no.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
I'm leaving.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
You have to stay really
Stanley
long.
took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Okay. What's gonna happen by going this way?
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
We care about you, Stanley.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've
Is
come
this a
together
friend?
here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
They really put the closet there. Okay, let's go. Oh my god.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No, they want us to give the bucket. Unacceptable. These propositions are no deal. Maybe I won't have the choice though.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
I can't do this.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Oh, so I'll have to do it again. Oh, what?
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Okay. Okay, I have to sacrifice the bucket now.
All of his
It's
co-workers were...
okay.
Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace. Protective, yet delicate. Assertive, yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Here you go.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fan... Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Will it be the same ending?
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
I can't. Can I?
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable
Okay, so this is the same thing.
characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Yeah, we can't crash it. So this is the same ending. We'll let it end because we tried it again. And it's...
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Yeah, it's not possible. I just checked on the wiki. Yeah. Damn it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to
Okay.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So the last thing I wanted to check was the meeting room with the bucket, by the way.
Stanley's bucket, the only co-worker he would ever truly need.
I just want to see the list. What
Stanley
happened to
clutched
it?
the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still
Okay.
no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps
Oh.
his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Oh no, it's back to what it was before. Before the collectible. So I can't see with everything ready.
Coming to a
Okay.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
This is sad. And no more standarding. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable.
It's not
At this
stopping.
point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Okay. Thank you very much for watching this marvelous run. The bucket run was insane.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything
Oh.
on the device was useless, since he could
I'm
never
speaking,
possibly
dude.
know that the combination was 2845.
Okay, they're helping us. So, it really was a weird experience. So funny.
2845.
And the meta, that went far. Every ending with it, the secret part with the collectibles, the Stanley, the narrator ending with the bucket.
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
So, if you watched it, recommend it to many people. Mostly recommend them to play the game by themselves and to buy the Ultra Deluxe. This is pure genius. I love what these people did, and I'll remember it for a very, very long time. And when I'm not gonna remember it properly, I'm just gonna play this gem again. And I'm happy for every dollar I put onto this game. And I hope many are happy. Best walking simulator ever. One game that's gonna transcend every type of game, every, how can we say it? Anyone can have fun with this. And if you really think this is not for you or boring, Jesus, can you appreciate true masterpiece? This is one of them. So anyway, enough rambling from me. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, and all that things. And take care of yourself. That was freaking awesome. Oh my god, I'm gonna remember this for so long. So good.